Welcome to A Lunch with Biggie, a podcast about small business and creatives sharing their stories and inspiring you. My guest today is a jack of all trades, master of many. She eats and writes about many things. She's an editor, a writer, a food pornographer, and a pontificator, as well as also a multimedia food reporter for the Orlando Sentinel. She's also one of my favorite people in Orlando. Please welcome Amy Drew Thompson. What's going on, Amy?
That is so sweet. Pontificator. That means I talk a lot.
No,
right?
That means you give good puns. You give good puns. I'll pun a lot.
I'm a pontificator.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about it. And I was like, well, that's one of my favorite things that we have in common is that her titles of her articles are so good. And they usually are they're in that punny world. So it's like, it's right in my wheelhouse.
That's really sweet. Yeah, I definitely veer into dad joke territory, I think sometimes, but that amuses me. I don't care if people groan.
No, I love it. I love it. That's one of my favorite things about you. I think that's one of my other favorite things. All right. So obviously, first question I always ask on the podcast is, what's your go-to sandwich or lunch? I've made it lunch now just because some people have told me they don't eat sandwiches, which I'm okay with because it's called Lunch with Biggie. So favorite sandwich or lunch?
Favorite sandwich. God, I should have known you were going to ask me that. I'm always looking for a good eggplant parm hero. That's a good one.
That's always a good one.
I don't think that I eat that really almost at all anymore.
Yeah.
Ever. But that's definitely a favorite sandwich. I like a good eggplant parm.
Okay. I like that. So one of the reasons why I wanted to chat with you. First I'll tell folks, like, I've had the privilege of, it's funny because I think Amy and I met. I always like to tell folks how I've kind of came in contact with you. And I think you and I met because as soon as you as soon as I found out who you were on, like when you got the job at Orlando Sentinel, I think I literally bombarded you. I was I liked you on everything. And then I think we were even talking before then, right?
I met you on Twitter before.
Because I think you were working, because you worked at one point, USA Top 10 best of, right? And was
10 best.
10 best.
USA Today's 10 best.
And I think you and I were in contact then. So I knew that's kind of how we met. And then we started hanging out even more once we actually started meeting in real life and talking and doing a whole bunch of stuff once you started doing stuff with the Orlando Sentinel. But and so one of the things that I love about you, and one of the reasons why I wanted to chat with you, was because I know that, and I know talk to a lot of small businesses and a lot of people like that, but I kind of wanted to talk to you because even though you don't technically, quote unquote, run a business, you're creative and you create and you tell stories and in various ways, everything from like radio, TV, online, newspaper, and you interact with many businesses. So I thought it would be great to kind of get some more information about you, tell people about you, but then maybe also kind of maybe get a different perspective and maybe some of the knowledge that you have. I mean, not that you're an expert, but I do think that you do have quite a bit of knowledge. And I think it'll be good, valuable knowledge for people listening to this. But
we'll see what you unearth. I definitely think we were friends before the Sentinel.
Yes.
I was wearing Deli Fresh threads before the Sentinel. It's just, we've known each other so long. And now I've been with the Sentinel 3 years. Yeah, we absolutely met in person, hung out, and I was wearing my Biggie bread cap before my Sentinel.
Yes. She's no, you're totally amazing. So let's go back with just to kind of get an idea of what got you into journalism.
I studied it in college. So, this was what I wanted to do. It's what I ended up doing. But before I was at the Sentinel, and in between my other various editor positions, I did have a business. I was a freelancer for 15 years. So I grew that business organically from the ground up. And I have run a business. It's not the same as running a restaurant, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Or being a maker. But I guess I am a creative in that way. I'm a content generator.
Yeah, no. And that's something that I think is truly, something you're very good at. And the other thing I think that one of the things that I kind of was, I don't know, I find very admirable. And I think I love about you is that you have a saying. I know that you have it's like the saying from, and correct me obviously if I'm wrong. But if no one ever gets lost, no one ever goes anywhere new. And so I think to me, when I've read that and when I've heard, like, I always think of it's like a great way
I
to
said
look.
that.
Yeah, you have. It's
Where
actually
did I say
I
that?
think it's actually on either an article I've read about you or maybe even on your website.
Uh,
Just so you know.
oh, wait. You know something? That is, yeah, there's something like that in the copy about me
Yeah,
on my
yeah,
website,
there
which
is.
is
And
which is old.
but I think no, but what I think about it, whether it's old or new, I think what I think is great about it is it's a great way to look at life, and also kind of like how you take chances to do different things that you make you uncomfortable, or that you're taking a risk on, like like starting something new, kind of like that's kind of how I look at it. Like I think that's something that I mean, you wear many, like you said, you wear many belt. You mean, kind of jack of all trades, master of many. I think a lot of times it's very difficult to do things when you're uncomfortable, or it's kind of, some people don't want to do things when it's like taking risk and things like that. And I think that's something that you do very well with. And so I kind of wanted to get an idea of like, what's some examples of your experience and tools that you've gained because of willing to take those risks?
First of all, maybe when you take a risk, you meet new people. And I think that in business, at least in my business, I'm not an expert, right? I go seek out experts so that I can learn about artisan bread, or how to make botarga, or what's the difference between Neapolitan pizza crust and New York style pizza crust? What are the chemical differences between those? That's not anything I know. I go to people who know those things. And so when you branch out into something new, it's necessary to meet new people, and every new person you meet, you grow. For me, every single new person I meet, my Rolodex, do people still say Rolodex? My Rolodex gets bigger. My virtual digital Rolodex gets bigger on my phone. And I always say that to people. Hey, now that we're in touch, can I call you if I have a question about, how to make grape jelly? Great. I'll do that. And one day I will have a question about how to make grape jelly. It's inevitable.
I wanted to kind of get your perspective, because you've seen the ebbs and flows of good businesses, large and small, and you've interacted with a lot of good businesses. What do you think is something that you've come across on why some establishments succeed?
Gosh, I don't know, because there are so many people who have great ideas and they don't ultimately succeed. And there are so many factors that could go into that. Not the least of which could be a global pandemic now, something I never thought that we'd be talking about, back when we first met, which was long before COVID. I don't know. I think that there's a combination of things, but I think part of the secret sauce, I think it goes both ways, in that you have to listen to the consumers who, want your product, whether that's something tangible or not, but you also have to follow your gut. In a way, there have been many restaurateurs I've interviewed who have said, people told me this is never going to work for you. This is never going to, a lot of naysayers, and they somehow knew that what they had was a good idea, and they stuck to their guns and they made it. So, I think that there's a balance between listening to what people say they want and then having sort of a sixth sense about something you feel really strongly about as a good idea.
No, I get it. What do you think are some recipe or some things that you've noticed that kind of you've seen are kind of, I don't know why companies don't succeed? Because I mean, obviously, yeah, you got to have a good product and you got to be able to follow your gut and listen to people. But is there something that you've noticed? Is there kind of like an underlying thing that you've seen, like, hey, I see why these people didn't succeed? And just in general, have you noticed a common thread from interacting with so many different businesses?
I don't think I've noticed the common thread. No, I guess I'd have to go back over things to see if there were. That's definitely like heavy duty research. I know I've done a few articles since I started about folks who don't respond well in situations where they could have responded better, and they kind of end up undoing themselves.
I do know that you're constantly creating content for work. How do you get inspired to constantly create content? Like, is there certain things that you use to kind of help you? Because in my world, obviously I'm trying to always create content. But I mean, that's literally like I'm doing it, but I also have product. Your job is to create content. Like, how do you go about kind of constantly either keeping it fresh or constantly creating things
There are
continuously.
so many ways to get ideas for content, which is a good thing because I have to write 4 columns minimally a week. So it's really good. But one thing that both of us use all the time are food holidays. Those are always really fun. Whoever came up with those, genius, is genius, because people love to talk about peanut butter and jelly day, or donut day is coming up, or the Italian beef sandwich. There's always something. And sometimes it's something really universal, like donuts. And sometimes it's something niche-y, like the Italian beef sandwich, which is like a very Chicago staple. Not that only people from Chicago like it, but it's something that's niche-y. So the people who love it really love it, even if there aren't as many people who love it. So it's really fun to do those kinds of things. Stories in the news cycle. Taco Bell brought back their Mexican pizza. So we can talk to not only Mexican restaurants, but pizza restaurants about how would you make a taco pizza? How would you make a pizza taco? Any of those kinds of things are fun. Regular holidays, seasons, what's in season. Look no further than the local farms. Oh my gosh, cucumbers are in season. Watermelons in season. It's Halloween. Let's talk about Seminole pumpkins and what all the things we can make from those. So it's endless. It's really endless. And with food, it's fantastic because it's endless.
What is it about food that you love so much? Is it is it one of those things? Obviously there's like the taste. I'm kind of curious. Is it the taste? Is it certain things like smells and flavors of things that bring you back to like when you were a kid? Is in your past was food a big thing, or in time did you just become like were you always a foodie type person? How did that kind of evolve?
All of these things, yes. Yes to everything you just said. It's all of it. It's all of it. First of all, food, even if you're not a food person, you still have to eat. So even people who aren't necessarily foodies, we have food in common, and we could talk about why are you an eat to live person, and why are people like me and you and the people who listen to us, read us, wear your shirts, why are we live to eat people? There's a question, that's a point of discussion between opposites. But gosh, everything about food is fun because it reminds you of comfortable things, of family, of great times in your life, of special trips or vacations that you took, or friends, who's, maybe you're Italian and your best friend was Chinese and you grew up going to his house and eating his grandma's cooking. And so you feel, bonded towards certain dishes that your Chinese best friend's grandmother used to make. And it's a way of showing off our cultures, and that could mean our ethnicity and nationality. It could mean where we come from in the world or the country, or even New York State.
Yeah. Yeah, the regionality
and we
aspect
talk about
of it.
the language of food. I said at the beginning of our conversation, eggplant parm hero. I specified that. And I always pay closer attention to the pizzerias where the menu says hero.
I mean,
and not
it's
sub.
funny because there's hero, there's hoagies. Yeah, there's a lot of different
Grinder.
There's a lot of different ones. And definitely a lot of terminology. It's something I've never obviously I see it, you probably see it too, and especially in articles, the polarizing-ness of certain foods, how people are become very, very it's food, folks, but they go very black and white, and it's like they're one side or the other on what it is with food.
My favorite are the just know people. Like, what do you mean just know? Like, you don't have to like it, but don't just know things. And it's always funny to me when people who say they're foodies just know something. Just know. Wait a minute. Why are you just knowing everybody's feelings about that? I may agree with you, but I still feel like it's not fun if we can't have the discussion.
I mean, I get it. I mean, it's funny because like on social, that's usually what happens to me is I get quite a bit of people that will be like, well, is this a sandwich? I'm like, well, does it really matter? Like, just eat it, man. Just eat it. Just enjoy
Well,
it.
you have
I
opinions, and
do have
that's good.
opinions, but I'm not like, but I will say through the years, I've kind of made it where it's like, I'm not there to fight and have that. Like, I'm okay with like, I mean, there's certain things that I will say, like I will stand on my, I guess on my soapbox and be like, that is not a sandwich, but and I'm okay with that.
Is a hot dog a
No, it
sandwich,
is
Biggie?
not. It's not a sandwich, and you know that. And so like that's like one of those things where the same thing with like a burger. Like
I'm stirring the
I get
pot.
told people like, was a burger a sandwich? I'm like, no, they're cousins. That's why the patty melt is the love child of a burger and a sandwich.
Patty melt is a
Yes, because
sandwich.
that is the love child of a burger and a sandwich.
I love
That's
it.
kind of how it is.
Yeah, I love this stuff. And I may pay close attention, I should say. I eat at sub joints, even though hero is the word I grew up with.
Yeah.
I eat all of them. I eat
Yeah.
hoagies and heroes and
Yeah.
subs and grinders.
I like that. Yeah. Heck yeah. Why not? You mentioned something before about your Rolodex and about reaching out to a jelly person or an expert on something. How important is it, not only in your job, but just in general when you're trying to start something or having that community support and having that like tribe or community around you, when you're trying to start something or even have something that you're working on?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, support is important in everything anybody does, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it feels good. Not that you can't accomplish things by yourself. Ultimately, it's your accomplishment. But I mean, who do people thank when they win awards?
Yeah.
This is from mom or my editor or, my sister or my partner who stayed up and read my novel 200 times, or whatever it
Yeah.
is that you're trying to do. So yes, community support and the support of your friends and family. Sure. That's no matter what you're trying to do, grape jelly or the great American novel.
Yeah, no, I totally I'm in agreement with you on that. I think it's like so important to have that kind of tribe and be able to kind of have someone to be able to go talk to and be able to kind of be like, hey, what do you think? Or just have your own support system, I think
Oh,
is super important.
somebody who will tell you the truth.
Yeah.
That is important.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who will tell you, look, I think that X, Y, and Z are great, but you might want to take a look at this part. Somebody who you can trust. And so I think it's very important for people to be able to take truly criticism that is truly constructive. Because I think we all need it. We all need it. We all need it. Maybe not all the time, but in points, you're always going to need it. So
yeah, I don't have a problem if you complain, but if I just at least be constructive about it and tell me the reasons why, or how can I be better on it? I definitely, I'm all about that aspect of it. During your time, have you had mentors? Have you had people that you like that have kind of helped you along the way? Or people that you can kind of bounce back to or bounce ideas off of to kind of help, as you develop your career?
Oh my gosh, yes. I've had mentors and I've had, people who pushed me to do things that I was interested in doing, not even necessarily professionally, but just personally, things that I wanted to do, that I always wanted to do, that I was, maybe a little bit afraid to do. Many moons ago, I guess was I already at the Sentinel? I don't know, a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I'm not even sure at this point. 2017. Yeah, it's about 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I always wanted to paint, not to be a famous painter or anything. I just
paint.
Liked doing it. And it was just something I enjoyed, but I never thought that I would, have the balls to hang anything that I painted in a public space. And I had two very good friends, one of whom was Joseph Hayes. I should give him a shout out, who I met. The night I met him, I was talking about painting and he was like, you should do it, and you have this guy who's this accomplished creative playwright. I don't even know how many plays this man has written. And he told me sort of his origin story as a playwright, and it inspired me and it gave me a little more guts. And I actually had an art show. I just once, but I did it. And people bought my paintings. They weren't expensive.
Whatever. You're like me. You downplay the
The
successes.
point is that I had the guts I'm not a painter. I've never
Yeah.
been like a visual artist. I just enjoyed doing it. And, I was inspired and mentored, and I hung my paintings up at Austin's Coffee and Film. Thank you, Jackie. And people came to see them, and even better, almost all of them were sold, which was tremendous.
Are you still painting now, even during the pandemic?
I haven't in a while because I'm fairly prolific in my career. But I did paint something. I don't know. I'd have to check Instagram. I did paint something new not too long ago, and I would like to chill out and just paint for a little bit.
So yeah, Amy, I did know about your painting. If I remember correctly, the person that told me, her name is Amy. She goes on Instagram. Her handle is Pretty Hate Machine.
Amy Brown.
Yes.
So ridiculously talented. If I painted like that, I would never stare at a computer screen again.
She is amazingly talented. No, I pretty much, you probably, if you live in Orlando and you've gone to different restaurants and different locations, you've seen some of her beautiful work. And yeah, she's the one that actually told me about you painting. She sent me a message in the direct message, and she's like, "Did you know Amy painted?" And I was like, "No."
I have several Amy stories. Most recently, her work was featured on the cover of the cooking and eating section with Rob Bear of Soto Square.
Yep.
Where she painted a tremendous Detroit mural in his new pizza place. So if you want to see a cool, it says like made in Detroit.
Yep.
I can't remember. Made in Detroit and served in Orlando. I can't remember what it says.
I think that's what it says.
But many years, at least a couple years before I met Amy, I've been going to Valkyrie Donuts, which I love. I'm a big fan.
Are they your favorite? Are they your favorite donuts?
They are among my favorite.
Okay,
donuts,
that's a good answer. That's I would say the same thing. I would answer
their
the same
churro
way.
donut is perfection.
Yeah,
it's perfection. But for once, I'm not going to talk about the food.
Okay.
One of the things I love about their shop, and my kids and I have been going there, is they have a water bear mural. It's called a tardigrade. Okay. It's a tiny itty bitty unseen microscopic animal that can live like on meteors and jet through space. And look it up, tardigrade. Okay. They have a mural of a tardigrade, and we have dug on that forever. And then I met Amy, and we were talking about painting, and I can't remember exactly how it came up. And I find out that she did that mural.
Yep.
So I've been a fan of hers since before I knew who she was.
Yeah.
And since then, now I see her art everywhere at Gnarly Barley.
Yeah, Gnarly Barley. She's done Gnarly Barley. She's done GB's Bottle Shop. She's definitely done quite a bit of work. I actually need to kind of chat with her to kind of share her story, because it's talk about being creative and doing amazing stuff. She also did like Chicken Fire. She did like all their mural work inside as well there. So obviously she appreciates good food as well. So I do.
That is a dream. Yeah. That's something I wish I were good enough to do that. I wish I were good enough to do that.
No, I totally.
Murals are no joke.
Murals are, that's a tough one. I'm always amazed by that. I've usually tried to stop. I've stopped by once or twice when she's when she's been working on certain ones, just because I'm just amazed by seeing someone work their creativity like that. So it's something that I think is pretty amazing.
Like that brings so much to a restaurant. It brings so much vibe. I think I just recently, this wasn't her work, but over at 24 Hour.
Yeah.
24 Hour off iDrive, where they do the 2D. They have it all. Yeah,
that's amazing. That is absolutely crazy. Amazing. Yeah.
It's totally crazy. It's like you're in a cartoon and you're having soup.
Yeah. I think to me, awesome. That's one of those things where if I ever opened a store, murals would definitely be all over that place. Sandwich style murals would be done all throughout. So I definitely agree with that, because I also noticed you're very good at talking about other people, never wanting to talk about you. It's like kind of like the humble. I also love the fact that I love people who cheerlead other people to kind of help them and push them to do other things. I
I'd
think
be
that,
clapping, but yes,
right?
I agree. Enthusiasm, people who are interested are interesting, you
Yeah.
know, I think. And one of the things that I love the most about my job is that I get to talk to you about your business. I get to
Yeah.
talk to the guy who makes breakfast sandwiches over here and the
Yep.
man who grows celery over there and the woman who bakes bread over here, and learn about all the things that they do and that they're passionate about. And then if I'm lucky, I get to eat it, which makes it even better.
Heck
Uh,
yeah. That's a victory.
so
That's a
it's
victory.
fun. You get
That's a,
jazzed. When people are jazzed about what they do, it makes you jazzed, even if it's something you weren't even interested in 5 minutes ago. Like
yeah.
their interest in it makes it interesting. It's amazing.
Mhm. That's one thing that I've gotten from doing this podcast is being able to talk to people. Obviously, they're people I'm interested in, and I want other people to kind of learn about them. But I think it's very interesting how everyone's got like their own story when they go through their own journey, and different things that you can learn from everyone. And I just kind of look at it as, it's one of the reasons why I did this was like I want everyone to succeed. Like I'm perfectly fine with everyone succeeding. I'm like it's like there's plenty of room for us all to succeed. It's not like and yes, I know that, especially in my world, the dollar only goes so much people spend on certain things, but I'm okay with that. In that aspect. Like I think if you like my stuff, you're gonna buy it. And if not, I want you to buy and support someone else that's, doing their thing and learning, because sometimes I want a sandwich instead of buying a shirt. I get it. you know uh,
Absolutely, I agree. And same in my community. I
yeah.
appreciate, many voices make the community more interesting, whether we're writers or, singers or playwrights or whatever we do. It's just, I wouldn't want to, I love, X band, but I wouldn't want to listen to that band every day with, to the exclusion of all others. I like everything.
That's totally very, very true. What advice would you give? And obviously I make it general. So what advice would you give a small business, or someone who wants to start a small business or start something new?
Well, this is far from my realm of expertise, but I think the first thing that I would do is find a hole in the market. Find something that someone's not doing
Yeah.
and do that. I recently talked to them, we love them, the Marshmallow Ladies.
Yes. Sugar
Um
Rush.
yes, thank you.
Yes. They were on
And
my podcast.
they talked to me probably similarly to you about how they realized when they were looking at the different things they were doing at the time, no one else was doing that. And they got invited to a lot of more events, because they had a truck that was doing something that was unique. It wasn't that the other 3 taco trucks weren't all good. It's that you
Yeah.
can't have 3 taco trucks unless it's the taco festival.
Correct.
You can't have 3 taco trucks at your food truck event, but nobody was doing what they did. And so they found a niche and they got invited everywhere. So I think that's something that you can always do. Find a need and fill the need.
Yeah. No, I get that. What is there a medium that you enjoy more than others? Because you do, and like you do a segment, do a segment with Jim Colbert, that you do every Friday at 4 o'clock, and so you get to do
420.
420.
Smoke up and then come
Yes.
listen.
But I know you do. I know you do that. I know you've done some video. Obviously, you print. And is there a medium that you prefer one over the other, or do you just kind of like be the option that you have the ability to go to all the different ones?
I don't know. It's fun. It's fun doing all the different things. I mean, obviously, my career started out solely as print, but I don't know if you can. I mean, obviously, some people can, but these days it's like you kind of need to be a little bit everywhere. I haven't done any video in ever, just because I've been busy, but I do like myself on video. I think the last time that I was on video eating something was like 2 strawberry festivals ago, and I ate some big, hideous hamburger on 2 strawberry donuts thing, which is,
Oh, I remember that.
yeah,
I remember that.
it's eating on camera, man. I admire those people. I watch
Yeah.
them sometimes on the food shows and I'm like, ooh, she was so dainty. I always feel like I'm just shoving things in my face. It seems ridiculous.
I
Mediums, no, I don't know. They're all fun. They're all fun.
That makes me laugh because I think to myself, so I just
you just posted a picture of me eating a sandwich and I was horrified. I
know you did. And I loved it. I thought it was awesome. I laughed because I filmed something recently where I had to eat, and at one point when I finished, I ended up telling the director of it, I'm like, I felt like I was working out and you were making me eat like do more reps, because he's like, pick it up slower. Now take another bite. Pick it up late. Nope. We need it to be more flat. So that way we don't know how much of the sandwich you've eaten. And it's like, I'm like, and I must have taken like 9 bites of this sandwich, like in maybe 5 minutes. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I don't get to enjoy this. Like, and I was just like,
at least you had a director though. At least you had a director to make sure that you were eating properly on camera. I just turned my phone around and shove a donut in my face.
But they just kind of like, so I've done that, and it's been like, it's very interesting to kind of do all those things. And I have a true appreciation for anyone who eats on camera and talks about food, because I definitely have not taken note on how I've watched it enough on Food Network, and I still always take too big of a bite. And then I want to talk and I'm like, stuff's on my beard, and it just looks bad.
Yeah, that's even worse. I would imagine that's got to be even. I mean, it's bad anyway. When you eat one of those like Luther donuts, there's no way that's not ending up somewhere on your face. So it's got to be worse with a beard.
Exactly. Always some remnants. Always some form of remnants. Where can people follow you, listen to you, read your work? Kind of drop that information in so that we can so they can see it, and then I'm also going to put it in the notes so that way they can kind of, when they go in, they can actually follow you as well.
First and foremost, I am the multimedia food reporter at the Orlando Sentinel. We always have subscription deals. The digital subscription is dirt cheap, and you'll get all the food stuff and everything else, all the sports, all the Scott Maxwell and the Mike Bianchi and all of our fabulous business and news reporters and things to do reporters and everything. And it's like, deals are like 1 penny for 6 months, or, they're always running a special. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and that's at Amy Drew, AMYDROO.
Yep. You
can find me on Facebook. You can join the Let's Eat Orlando Facebook page, which is operated by the Sentinel. There are many admins. I am one of them. And there's always some fun discussion going on there. Post your dinner, post your recipes. Yes. Tell us where you ate that you loved, and let us go there and eat there too.
Or tell me a place that you like, and then everyone will crap on it and tell you that it sucks.
Yes, well,
sometimes that happens.
It is Facebook.
Sometimes that happens too. Sometimes
it is Facebook.
It does have a Facebook vibe, yes. But it's a great community, especially if you want choices and selections. You definitely will get a bunch of people who eat around and support a lot of small businesses.
It's not a super Haiti community though.
No, it's good.
It really is.
I like it. It's one of the
friendlier foodie spots, I think. Yep. People seem to be very accepting of everybody's differing opinions there for the most part.
Yep. So Amy, where can they listen to you?
Oh, Primetime Kitchen, 420 Friday, every Friday on the Jim Colbert Show on Real Radio 104.1 FM.
Awesome. Perfect. Amy, I truly appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for having lunch with me. Like you said, you can follow Amy online. You can follow her on print. You can listen to her on podcasts or on live radio on 104.1. Definitely lots of options for you to be able to follow her. If you enjoyed the show, definitely make sure to subscribe. If you want to support me, check out my brand, Deli Fresh Threads, and check out, and you can obviously do some shopping, spread the word. By all means, leave reviews. Thank you. Until next time, keep eating sandwiches and follow your passion. Thanks, everyone.